What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. Milwaukee threw a hell of a punch tonight. Giannis played another amazing game in that kind of point center role where he's next to Bobby Portis and he just kind of determines everything as the half-court shot creator. 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 13 assists with 2 steals and 2 blocks. An absolutely insane stat line. I tweeted this earlier. I was obviously wrong to pick the Bucks to beat the Pacers for a myriad of reasons. And obviously the Dame injury was a psychological punch to the gut for the Bucks in the middle of the series. But I don't have any regrets for believing in Giannis and his ability to potentially win this series. He is amazing, and he's going to go play somewhere else this summer. And some team is going to become frightening when they add Giannis to the mix. And there are a couple teams out there that have the assets to make a move for him that are already really fucking good. And it could get incredibly scary. But Giannis played amazing. Gary Trent Jr. and AJ Green go nuclear from 3. They hit 14 of them, including Gary Trent hitting 5 of his 8 threes in crunch time. But Tyrese Haliburton was even better. Think about how good you thought Gary Trent Jr. was down the stretch. Did it feel like when you were watching the game that Gary Trent was scoring every single time? He had 15 points in crunch time. Tyrese Haliburton had 14 of his own in crunch time to go with 2 assists. The Pacers overcame a 7-point deficit in OT with a little over a half minute left. Andrew Nembhard hits a bomb coming off a ball screen, a deep, 30-foot 3 off the dribble at the top. And then Tyrese Haliburton beats his man off the dribble twice. Once against AJ Green on the right wing, once against Giannis Antetokounmpo on the left wing for the win. And on both of them, AJ Green, physicality, bumping up on Haliburton. He still turns the corner. He bumps him at the rim, and he still gets enough lift to power through the contact for a soft left-handed finish off the glass and one. And then attacking Giannis in a switch. The nasty left-to-right crossover, turns the corner, and for the second time in crunch time, he elevates and actually gets an up and under to avoid rim protection and cleanly lay it down off the glass. That is the most athletic Tyrese has looked on his dribble drive and rim finishing attacks, especially at a one-on-ones, since the beginning of last year when he was kicking everybody's ass before he pulled his hamstring. There's been a consistent theme with Tyrese Haliburton in his range of potential outcomes. And it pretty much comes down to he can make all the reads. But in order to beat switches, he's got to be able to beat people off the dribble and hit stuff at the rim through in traffic. And in order to dictate the type of coverage necessary to generate all the kinds of openings that he can kill teams with, he's got to be able to hit his 3. If he can hit his 3 off the dribble, that's the other ceiling-raising piece that unlocks everything that he does. Because if he can score effectively enough in drop coverage, and he can score effectively enough in switches, that unlocks his peak trait, which is that he sees every read as it's happening, and he makes those reads on time, on target. The pass is always in the right place. That's the ceiling-raising piece. But it depends on his ability to be explosive in one-on-one situations and to knock down shots in drop coverage. And so, honestly, we're recording a Pacers-Cavs preview tomorrow morning. So keep an eye on the feeds early-ish in the day tomorrow for that. But the main thing that I want to focus on is that they're going to need Tyrese Haliburton to be amazing to be able to win that series. And this is the best that he's looked since the time that he came onto the scene early last year. And everyone was like, oh my God, what are we watching? Evolutionary Steve Nash here? He's showing that upside again. The first step on the move on Giannis was crazy. Everyone's slaying Giannis. And I mean, the dude had to do everything for his team. So I'm just not going to be super critical of him in that situation. This is not the Luka Doncic situation where he's being anchored by LeBron James and Austin Reeves and somehow still running out of gas at the end of games. Giannis is the engine for everything this team does. Who's the second best player on Giannis's team tonight? It's Gary Trent Jr. It's Kevin Porter Jr. He took a bunch of a replacement level players in the NBA and went into Indiana, very good Indiana Pacers team, and nearly got the job done. But in that last ISO, Tyrese he toasted him on that move. He looked explosive on that move. And it wasn't like a high hesitation, just shoot the gap. He changed direction with a sweeping left to right crossover and then hit the jet moving forward. They're going to need him to be incredible to beat the Cavs. And I thought that was a really good sign, how explosive he looked down the stretch. We had a really weird altercation at the end of the game with Tyrese Haliburton's dad, like walking onto the court to just shit talk Giannis on the floor. That was super bizarre. But I thought both Tyrese and Giannis handled it really well in their post-game pressers, and that kind of took some of the weirdness away. Because you can see, like, I'm so glad that we've seen this from Tyrese. Like, shit talk can get nasty sometimes, but there is something to be said about high-level competition and the ability to separate what is high-level competition from what things are like off the court. And there are a lot of people out there that, like, I mean, we were talking about this last night. Like, I like to think I'm a reasonably nice guy. I have been awful to people on the basketball court before, like awful, to the point where, like, I think about it all week until I see that person and I can apologize to them. Like, when you get out there and the competitive juices start flowing, like, it is important to separate the competition from what things are like off the court. And, like, Giannis had a chance to go into that press conference and just rip Tyrese and talk all sorts of shit about who he thinks he is as a person. Nope. Tyrese is a competitor. Wish him all the best. But then calling attention to the obvious behavior from his dad. And same thing with Tyrese Haliburton. He could have gone into the presser and been like, those boys talk shit the entire series and we busted their ass. Nope. He went up there and he was like, look, we're outside of the lines now. Time to be a grown-up. You know, I respect the hell out of Giannis. I respect the hell out of Dame. This is just what we do when we compete. And I just want to applaud those guys for handling that really sticky situation with class.